Now that you've got your grand plan sorted out for making this app for the driving instructor, Justin's his name by the way, you then need to actually work out what you're going to do. So you come up with your design and you outline the possible solutions, how exactly you're going to solve the problem, and you're going to write them down. You'll also be doing a feasibility study, something you've come across before, but this time it'll be in more detail. And you're going to develop a plan from all of this information that you've created. So this is the design part where you're actually going to come up with your plan. You've done the research, now you're coming up with the plan. The next part is making the plan happen, and this is the implementation or the coding part. Implementation means putting a plan into action, and the coding would be paying someone to code the app. Because don't forget, in this instance, you're not actually going to have to code the app, but you will be coming up with the screenshots that you can make in something like PowerPoint to show the app coder who's going to code it in Java or whichever language you choose, and you will have to nominate a language to code it in. You've got to give them enough information to be able to do that job. So the product is then created and the product is tested. The testing will take place throughout the development. As each new module or each new part is added, you will test it to make sure that it does what you say it's going to do in the requirements analysis. Why do you test? You test because it means that any mistakes or errors can be put right, and also it allows you to refine the product, to make the product better over time. So that's the purpose of testing. A bit more on testing is that while it goes on throughout the entire implementation, the coding, the manufacturing of the product, it also happens when you believe that the product is finished, that final user testing, to make sure that, again, you're testing it to measure it against what you said you were doing in requirements analysis. You can't hand it over to the client and the client says, well, hang on, you told me that it'll do X, Y, and Z. Actually, it does A, B, and C. So I'm not paying you, because you only get your money if you produce the product that you that you agreed that you were going to make. All right. So we're almost there now. That's the testing done. The product is tested, and it's going to be now handed over to the client. This is the deployment part. The client should accept the product, and if he does, then the handover is arranged. So at that point, the product will go out into the marketplace, and in this case, it'll mean that the client will start to use it in his business. And then, of course, what always happens, inevitably, is over the first few weeks, a couple of things aren't quite as he wanted. But hopefully, everything is as you said it was going to be, because you've got him to sign that requirements analysis, that what you said you were going to do, he's got. But it may well be there are one or two errors, one or two bugs in the system. It may be that you can improve performance on it. It may be that the client wants to add new features to it. You hope so, because that's more money in the bank for you. And that would again require planning and further negotiation with the client. So there'll be some maintenance that you would do as a matter of course. So you might need to do new maintenance to keep up to date with the latest releases of software that it's running on, whichever platform it's on. Say it's running on an iPhone. Every time there's a new release of iOS, you've got to go in and then update it to make sure that your product works with iOS. The same thing if you're doing it on the Kindle, or you're doing it on a laptop, or you're doing it on Android. It makes no difference. The same protocol applies. So that's it. You have gone and found out what your product should be. You've done your research. You've come up with a plan. You've sold that plan to the client. You've made it. You've handed it over to the client, and you've done some maintenance on it. That's it. Job is now complete.